Welcome to the BTA Podcast. BTA, the voice of business travel.
Hi everyone, it's time for the BTA Pulse, the podcast where Andrew and myself talk about what's been going on at the BTA, but more importantly, what's coming up and what's going on in the business travel world, just to really keeping you informed, everything business travel. And I've got to be honest, it's been a little while since we've done one, but we're back and in a kind of new format. Andrew, how are you doing?
I'm well, Clive. We've just been too busy to do one, which is a bit of a shame, really, because I think keeping everyone updated on what's going on and hearing some of the key discussion points that the BTA are actively engaged in, I think it's important. So we need to be a bit more rigid in keeping everyone updated, I think.
Poor time management, but in a good way, because we've been really
If anyone
busy,
can give us any time management tips, let us know.
Yeah, because we're rubbish at it, right? We are. But we're going to take the next 20 minutes just to talk about how poor we are at time management. No, we're not. We're going to talk about a lot more exciting stuff that's going on. And I think, you know, as we haven't been around for a while, we should talk about, as we head towards the end of the year, what's left in the BTA calendar. But I know exciting news about 2026.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a few events that we're holding between now and the end of the year. We've got our mobility conference, which is super important. I think there's lots of rumours going around the up-and-coming budget, which I know you'll touch on, Clive, around electric vehicles and charges and everything else. So It'll be great to hear from some of our mobility providers on their views and their thoughts on some of these potential changes that are coming. And obviously, by the time we get to the mobility conference on the 2nd of December, we'd have had the budget. So we'll be a bit more clearer on what impact any changes have had by then. Also got a few webinars still to have. So and so you're more than welcome to join. And I would point everyone to our events page, because amazingly now we have our 2026 calendar live and
that's the exciting news I was talking about.
That's the exciting news, yes. So people can go to the website, see what dates we've got events on, bang them in their calendars, and we will get the registrations opened as quickly as possible so that people can start to register and get their calendar invites and secure their places.
Yeah, and I think for those that are listening, it's so important, right, that the things like the mobility conference is for members. Anyone from your TMC can attend, even if they just want to come along and listen and learn. And there is so much great information on that agenda around first and last mile, EVs and what it means for corporates, that if you're an account manager, you really need to be at these events and spend a couple of hours, because that's the other important thing. This is an afternoon event, right? So we've changed it to time, reduce the time people are out of the office. It's an after lunch to late afternoon. Just get along to the central London venue and come and have a listen, which means also promoting 2026. But the rail conference I'm really looking forward to, and I know that is now 28th of Jan, but I'd have people get into that and register it, not only because you get a chance to have a look around the London Transport Museum.
2 in 1, right? It's not very often we get a venue that gives us that access and opportunity, but they've been really receptive in terms of what we wanted to achieve in the rail conference, and we've secured it again for 2026, or our following conference 12 months later. Yeah, so that's really good opportunity for everyone to come and see the museum. For those that have never been before, it is quite insightful. It's not just a museum with old relics in, although me and you will be there, Clive. It's
well, that's very kind. I thought you were going to say just me, but a career limiting remark, but you've got away with that one. Yeah.
So definitely encourage people to go.
Yeah, it should be a good one. And then just looking back at, too far into history, but you and I and Sam have just spent a couple of days out on the road with the BTA and a fantastic evening in both Manchester and Aberdeen, our first ever visit that far north, where we just kind of spend the evening letting our members meet partners, but equally talking about the BTA, which is a really great opportunity and educating a lot more people who haven't been to a BTA event. But it was good. Coming to your home city, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, Manchester's always well turned out. I think we've got a good, strong population of TMC folk here in Manchester. So good turnout as always. The Mancunians like to party and network and chat amongst themselves. So that was a good evening, and we had a guest photographer. So my son came along and did the photography for the evening. So we'll be sharing some of those photos on our website soon, so you can have a look at his skills. And then Aberdeen, different format due to location, and the numbers were slightly different. So we did a bit of a BTA quiz, a bit of a pop quiz, got everybody involved that way, and it went down really, really well. And the weather was fantastic, right? We had beautiful
amazing
blue skies.
Yeah.
Cold, but...
But as some might have seen my post, the good news and bad news was, well, the bad news was most people didn't score as many in the quiz about the BTA as they did in the music. The good news now is we've educated them, which is exactly the point of these trips moving around. And we will go into 2026 doing more of those. And we really hope we'll see lots of BTA members coming along and getting to meet us and some of our suppliers, which is exciting times from that point of view. On the agenda of other stuff that's going on in the commercial side of things, Andrew, what's happening?
Well, I think probably just good to touch quickly on the budget, Clive. Obviously, we've got the budget coming up soon from the government, and I know we've been busy working away, meeting with MPs and offices around that are linked to our sector. What can you tell us about that first, Clive?
Well, I think before we get to that, actually, what is interesting is the government published its response to the railway bill, which was gathered from information by Lord Hendy on what the railway needs to do to evolve and get better. Understandably, it was quite a big document. And you know what the depressing part of it was? I did a word search and there wasn't the words business travel, corporate travel, travelling for work, commuting, anywhere in the report. So we have... are currently actually building a response to that to them realise that it's just missing a trick with the travelling for work community and what the railway can deliver. As a result, I had a meeting with Richard Holden, who's the Shadow Transport Minister, to say, come on, you in opposition have got to fight for this business travel sector in the railway because it's important to both Treasury, it's important to the railway, and it's important to our customers and our members. So we've still got a lot of work to do around that. And we have just issued a really good paper in conjunction with Black Box around the opportunity that business travel can bring to the railway and what we need to deliver that opportunity, which has gone into the DfT. Already had a response from them. I only sent it in a couple of days ago and they responded immediately saying, we'd really like to share this above and beyond within the department and others. And are we okay with that? And I said, well, obviously, we'd love you to do that and we'd love to come in and talk it through. So the BTA on behalf of members is doing a lot of work around that. And that also leads into the budget, your comment there that we submitted to the Chancellor what we believe is needed out of the budget, which includes no increases in APD at worst, reductions at best, and also around what we need from the railway reform straight away to get business back. And that we'll wait and see what comes out of that. We are already preparing for responses, you hear, like everybody else within the press around what is going to be done. We're focused on stuff that immediately impacts our members and their customers, and we react pretty quickly afterwards. And on top of that, as a result of some of our submissions and comments, I've also got meetings with a number of MPs, including Ruth Cadbury, who chairs the Transport Select Committee, which are all coming up either just before or just after the budget. So we've got a lot of opportunity to shout for our sector within those people that hold the power, if you like. So yeah, an interesting few months. I'm very busy in London, going to Westminster quite a few times, because again, that's good. They're meeting us in person again as well now, less video calls, which I think is much better. Whatever comes out of the budget, it's going to be a bit bad news, I suspect, somewhere along the line.
Sort of tagline when we left our conference way back when in September, feels like a long time ago now, was let's get to work. And I just hope that the government are listening to that remark itself, because I think it really needs to get to work to get the economy moving again.
We talk about we're very concerned around the industry and our members are fighting hard. But when you look back over recent weeks, we've had two significant aviation casualties from a UK perspective, both Eastern and very recently Blue Island. People go, well, that's not important. Well, it is really important. It shows the state of the economy. Regional aviation is critical to the UK economy, and we lose two carriers that feed a big part of that market is a real problem. I mean, fortunately, we have Logan Air stepped in to pick that up, but it just shows the perilous state this sector can be in if you don't get it right, and we need to keep fighting for those links. So yeah, we do have a challenging time ahead, I'm sure, but I think we're all in it together, and that's the real key thing. As an association, we keep fighting for this on behalf of the industry and keep everyone together.
And it's been a busy time, hasn't it, for the industry? I think certainly that end of October, beginning of November seems to be consistent sort of industry events going on, these conferences going on. I think people are also already getting travel fatigued a little bit and sort of looking forward to Christmas, which is, dare I say it, kind of 4 or 5 weeks away now.
Yeah, I'm sure many of our member TMCs are planning Santa's route now, because that's what they do. You've got to get out in advance. So I think they're probably very busy with the most important journey of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so lots going on. I think we're going to the new year even more to kind of see what comes out of the budget and how the economy stacks up. I mean, just looking at some of our members' numbers, interestingly, for the last quarter from an aviation point of view, you're seeing the USA flat, but Asia really going well. So overall, everybody's just about up on previous year, 24. So the signs are good, but it feels a bit fragile, I guess. And we keep a very close eye on what trends are coming down the line in 2026.
And talking about trends, I think, one of the things that we have been keeping an eye on is the EES launch into Europe for people travelling.
Has it actually launched? I've heard nothing about it.
Yeah, that's great, right? But we've been sort of keeping in touch with the Department for Transport and the Home Office and various other departments just to sort of see what's going on. And their latest feedback to me was that there's been little or no disruption to those countries implementing 100% from day one. Some minor delays in some of the smaller countries where the volume of people sort of outweighed the number of machines and systems that they had in place to take the volume. But other than that, I think it's gone pretty quiet. And the DFT have invited us to an updated session because, as you know, the early next year, or certainly by the end of Q1 next year, there is a plan to start putting charges in place to travel out to Europe. So that's the kind of next stage that we'll get involved in. We'll keep close to that and we'll keep our members updated on what happens.
Actually, you just remind me, another important part around both to the budget, but also the work we're doing is around the hotel levy, right? That's a potentially huge issue for our sector and some of our partners as well as our members moving forward. For those that don't really know what that is, the UK, a number of cities are putting in what can only be described as a hotel tax, but I think it's called a levy for people staying overnight, and the huge impact that has because it's not being regulated, it's being devolved out to each country and to each city. So, a lot of work to do around that. And if any listeners have a view on that, I'm really keen to get any feedback and your thoughts on it so it'll help us build our kind of picture and our case to go to government with.
Definitely.
That's about it for this episode. We've covered off, we're back. And I think we might have said that before and we weren't because we've been so rubbish at timekeeping. But we will be getting back to doing these regularly, talking around the issues and upcoming BTA events. We really hope you've enjoyed it. As Andrew said, go to our events page. It is all there for 2026 and we will have registration open so you can actually book on them very early doors. And that's about it. Anything else you have to wise words to leave our listeners with, Andrew, before we sign off?
No, I'm never full of wise words, Clive. As we say with every event that we go to, this is your BTA. This is your opportunity to get involved, educate yourself, have really good, strong debates and discussions around key topics that impact our industry. And we encourage everyone at every level within the TMC community and wider industry to get involved.
Simple message. Get involved. We'd love to see you. It's there for everyone. And we will be back soon. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking with it and getting through this point. And it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.